Hello and welcome back to the Fodder Gaming channel where I discuss AR and geolocation mobile games. In today's video, I want to do my best to go over some of the inner workings of Phlox, especially because in this weekend's tournament, you are bound to see a lot of Dodosevia. Additionally, we have the big announcement of Jurassic World Alive version 2.8 coming out next week. So this is one of my last chances before I'm extremely busy again with content. So let's just jump right into it. Hey, look at that. This was not planned at all. I'm just as surprised as you are. Now I'm darting, not like holding my my phone, so this is going to be a little bit more difficult than it probably needed to be. It's always good to be sitting here ready to record and see an epic spawn on the map. Not too bad, 126. I've definitely done worse from closer. Wow, holding my phone. So that was nice to see, a little added bonus for you there. Today is the only day for rares. So if you are watching this video and you have time, make sure you get out there and dart those rares. You are going to have, 18 attempts. And we have Dimetrodon, we have Pasto, and then there's T-Rex Gen 2. But that's not exactly what this video is about. I'm going to jump into the battle arena because I am running. In fact, let me just back out of this real quick. Here's the team that I'm going to be running. As you can see, I have Dodosevia as an option at level 20 with boost, and then I have Compsocallis in there at level 25 again with boost. So I'm going to jump in the battle arena and just hope that I get one of the two. I don't really want both of them because those battles, I'm under-leveled on both of them, so those battles typically don't turn out real well for me. And here we go. Let's see what hand we are going to draw for our first battle, and we're going to get Dodosevia. Now, the way I like to use Dodosevia, because it is such a low level, is I like to use it as a closer. Now, when we get to the opportunity to use Dodosevia, I'm going to kind of go over some of the moves. You know, I do have the 15-second time limit, but I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking and how I'm using the Dodosevia to help you prepare for this weekend. And I don't know if anybody else is going to be using them the way that I use them, but you're definitely going to see them in this weekend's tournament. That was kind of a beefy hit right there. 2268. It's not that powerful of a Trico. What are we looking at? 56 speed. Ouch. I'm down to 1600 here. So, I mean, here's the deal. I'm just going to go ahead and attack. If they have a swap-in creature, healing doesn't do me any good. They didn't have a swap-in creature, so the attack was actually the better move there. Now we're going to go for mags. This is definitely going to be an easy heal here. We're looking at 1790, 1800 on this, plus the 0.5, so add another 9 to it, so 27 ballpark. And that means that the ramp is 3596, which is just barely going to be enough to take me out, and such is life sometimes, right? Next, I think I'm going to go straight for Mortem Rex because distraction is already used, ramp is already used. I'm just going to straight chomp down on a mag and take a 2-to-1 lead. I still have, what is that? Just over 3000 HP. So I can survive most things initial attack, which looks good for us right here. And my opponent's going to bring in Spino, which has a rampage move on turn 1, but it's only 28. But they also have a distraction move. I think it's safest just to go with the cleansing move. And they did go for the precise rampage. And let's see what happens here. No crit, but that's going to knock him down to under 1500, which should set me up rather nicely to show off my Dodosevia. So Dodosevia has a revenge move, so it's going to be extra powerful if you bring it in once your creature has been defeated. And that is going to be the Revenge Distraction Impact. As you can see, as a revenge, it's going to reduce damage for 4 turns and do 2,500 damage. And that's going to be a one-hit KO for the dub on the Revenge. Just like that. That is why I like Dodosevia. It is, for me, it's protection. Because Dodosevia is going to last, for me, 1, 2, 3 attacks. 4 turns, but it's only 3 attacks in most cases, unless my opponent has a big group attack or something. But generally speaking, I'm not going to be able to be knocked out in the first 3 attacks, which makes it extremely viable as a closer, especially if your opponent is already wounded. So if my opponent had swapped out there, whatever they swapped into was going to get hit with a big attack. And then on top of that, I was going to have the option of going for another big attack, which is a swap move, into something that's going to nullify or distract them. And that's just a lot of damage, plus a counterattack. So that would have been a lot of damage coming at anything else that my opponent would have brought in. And it just led to a pretty easy victory there. Let's see, we have nothing here, so I will probably just fast forward through this particular video. And there we go, the nice crit to finish off a solid 2-1 victory, which is going to put me up at 5483. We are approaching the Gyrosphere Depot. All right, jumping right back into the battle arena, let's see if we can pull out either Compsognathus, which I use in a different way than I use my Dodosevia. Although they're very similar, I use Compsognathus more as a revenge killer. I use Dodosevia more as a closer. So let's see if we get either one of those in the next battle. Okay, so this time I have a unique situation where I have both of them. And because I have Tovin and because I have Mortem Rex, that leaves me with really no other option but to use Compsognathus as an opener. What I'm going to be looking to do here, this is a really good matchup actually for me. What I'm going to be looking to do here is get off an attack, and so I'm going to do this restricted group distraction attack here, and then I'm going to follow that up with an alert attack. An alert, remember, has a secure status and a threatened status. Because I'm going to get one of them kiboshed here, that's going to put me in the threatened status. Now if I tap on this and look, you can see that threatened is highlighted and the secure is kind of grayed out. This is going to replenish my heal and do a little less damage than if I had led with this. But what I try to do with this particular setup is get out and then get back. And you know what? I'm actually going to go ahead and swap here. There's too many benefits to swapping if my opponent swaps, and this is the ideal matchup for Tovin right here. If my opponent swaps, then I'm good. Now, had I left my flock in there, because of the absorb ability, I would have only lost my second flock creature, which would have left me full HP on the third one, which is like 33.4% of my total health. I believe the thing I want to do here is I'm just going to go ahead and go vulnerability, which is going to make my next attack absolutely monstrous. Sarah Magnus can't get out of this, I doubt. Ooh, 22. So I have to avoid a crit right here is the only thing. If we avoid, oh, and I'm still faster. So boom, boom shakalaka. We get the early takedown, and I'm still faster, so I'm going to go with the vulnerability strike here for Tovin. This was a really nice showing for Tovin. Worked out well, which is going to set me up really nicely to bring in Mort for probably not a revenge kill, although maybe with that state of vulnerability, we very well could be looking at enough damage for the revenge kill. We're going to go ahead and go that direction. There we go. A solid 2-1 lead. I feel pretty good here simply because now... Oh, what do they do though? Do they go cleanse, thinking I'm going to swap in? And even if they do, they can only knock out one. They can't take me out completely. The only thing that they could do would be roar, but my swap in distraction is going to reduce their damage to 0. So Fierce Impact is going to do no damage. Now, I have options now. So what I can do is I'm still in the threatened state, but I'm going to heal one of my compies. Or I could just go with a group distraction for 2506. I'm actually going to bring one of my compies back. A beautiful victory. I believe this is going to push us up to the Gyrosphere Depot. It's been a hot minute since I was up in the Gyrosphere Depot. But look at that. New high score for the month. Looking good. And I'm gonna do one more battle up here in the depot. We'll see if we win and stay, or if this was a little cup of coffee up in the depot before we get shuttled back down to the library. Let's see what we get here. Okay, so very similar team to the first time around, where we're gonna use, you know the drill. I like to use Dodosevia as a revenge killer. Oh man, what are we looking at here? So 2500. It's gonna be pretty painful. Even without crits, it's still gonna hurt a lot. Let's see what happens. So we're gonna slow them down. Where is their speed? 54. We can manage that. Now not much is going to, I mean, I am in swap-in range for Magnus, Sarah Magnus. But again, if I do heal, it does me no good because the swap-in will take me out. So my best bet here, if I'm not going to swap on my own, is to go ahead and do an attack. And it looks like we're going to get another KO of a Trico. Trico has fallen on hard times, man. It used to be the king of the game, and it's just not what it once was. I feel like we've had this battle before where they led with Trico, like in the very first battle of the game, right? Or the video, where they led with Trico and then brought in Mags to come in and try to do a little, you know what I mean? I don't remember how I played that though. I'm just gonna play it the same this way. I think I'm gonna let my creature go. So 4318, there's nothing that I really want to take 4318 worth of damage. So we'll let Sarah Lux go. Now, distraction is gone, revenge is gone, so nullification is all that my opponent can do, or they could swap. Those are the only two options. If they don't swap, I'm going to get a KO for a 2-1 lead. And again, we're set up nicely with the 2-1 lead in order to do what I could have done in the first video, but we never got there. Now, if they bring out the boa, the snake again, then I know it's the same person. Okay, so I have options here. I think I'm gonna go ahead. I could swap into Tovin, but I think my better bet is to go ahead and sack my Mort here. 134 speed, which means they don't have a lot of HP. They put it all into speed and attack. So we're gonna bring out our our little level 20 Dodosevia to go up against a level 29, probably max boosted. And the first thing we're gonna do is the revenge attack. So that's gonna take him down to 2506. Rampage is only gonna knock out one. That is the absorb ability right there. Now, what I'm gonna do is, gotta love it, I could bring back a creature. See this option right here, since I'm in a threatened state, allows me to bring back a creature. I'm gonna go for the win. Yes. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. So now on that attack, it's an automatic swap because I was in a threatened state. I also basically sacrificed 33.4% of my HP, except if that were my only creature. So say they had done an attack that took me down to just one creature. I could still do the alert move, and it would knock me down to 1 HP, and then I would have swapped into Tovin, which would have taken no damage. Whatever they brought in the swap would have attacked, probably done no damage, and then Tovin would have done a counter attack damage, and that would have been set up really nicely for no matter what I faced. But there we go. We are going to stop this video at 5530 for a new high score. So I hope that this video helped you a little bit. I know I didn't go deep into the flocks, and in fact, as soon as I'm done darting this Gorgo, I want to show you one other thing that I wasn't able to show you because neither Compies nor, and I can't get a direct hit to save my life, neither Compies nor Dodosevia actually have this ability, And it's either, I believe it's Compy's Gen 1, the Epic version, that has this ability, and not Gen 2, but there is an alert the flock. So you remember Compsocallus, when it swaps in, it has the instant distraction, right? Where your opponent, unless they have a way to not suffer as much distraction, they're going to get 100% distracted in their attack. But if we go to Compy's, the Epic version of it, you see that we have a swap-in move, actually 2 swap-in moves. So we have Alert the Flock, which alerts have the secure and the threatened abilities. So Alert the Flock is whenever your HP is over 1790, the ability is disabled. That means nothing's going to happen. If you have a copy that's on your bench, never been used, you bring it in for the first time, then nothing is going to happen. There's nothing. It'll just swap in as normal, although you will still get your Alert the Swarm whenever your HP is over 895. Your target escapee, the swap is prevented, which lasts 1 turn. So what's going to happen here is if you swap in and say you're faster, nothing's going to happen as far as Alert the Flock, but Alert the Swarm, if your opponent tries to swap out of what they have but you got in first, they're not going to be able to swap because both those things are going to be secure. Now, if you are in a threatened state, so let's say you lead with your compies and they get a creature knocked out, and then you take them out and then you bring them back, whenever you swap back in, they're going to rally heal. So it's going to bring one of your creatures back. So you're going to re-enter the arena and then bring one of your injured flock members back with you. Additionally, for Alert the Swarm, if your opponent is trying to swap out, you're not going to be able to pin them in. One thing that I did not mention during this video that is very, very important about the different abilities with flocks is the ability that is active at the start of the turn is the one that is going to happen. So let's just say that I'm in a secure state on this alert decoy, right? Or actually, you know what? Protective alert. So this one. Actually, it doesn't even matter. Whichever one is active at the beginning is the one that's going to hold. So alert decoy, if you see how it's disabled, if your HP is under a third, essentially. So say I have 2 of my Dodocevias out on the board, right? And my opponent has priority moves. So they attack, bam! They smash into my Dodocevia and knock out 1. So now I'm down to 1, which would move me into that threatened state, right? Because I would only have a third of my HP left. Well, the move that's going to be triggered is the one at the start of the turn. So I would still get my secure formation on this. I would still have the secure ability, which is the over 10,007, which is 1/3, and it's going to do 100% critical hit, automatic swap, and all of that. And like I said, if it so happened that I had one of them knocked out and it left me with 1, it would leave me with 1 HP. So keep that in mind. Whichever ability is active at the start of the turn, it doesn't matter what happens before, that ability is going to be the one that takes precedent in that move. I hope that this video helps explains flocks. You saw the absorb, you saw the alert, you saw how I use them in my day-to-day battles, even wildly underleveled. I mean, a level 20 and a level 25 is nowhere near the 29s and 30s that I was facing in the arena. They're still pretty effective with enough boost in them. You're going to see a lot of Dodocevia in this weekend's tournament, so hopefully you get a little bit of understanding of how these creatures work and how you can best use them to be successful no matter how you're using them. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, make sure that you do subscribe, and that's all that I've got for this one. So until next time.